So let's start our project with making a grid. Our grid will help, just like using grid paper, assure precise alignment of our components and the things we want to place. It also helps us to scale our project. This grid is 4 bays wide. A bay is the space between those grids. So I have a 4 by 3. Each one of these is 20 foot by 20 feet. So if I zoom in here, you can see that I've dimensioned these already, 20 foot by 20 foot. That means that between the columns that we're going to place at these intersections, we'll have a span of a beam of 20 feet, which is a very reasonable length for a beam. So let's get started with a new document. So I'll close this one off, and we'll go ahead and open up a new architectural template. And we'll end up on level 1. First thing I want to do is make sure I have the architecture tab selected, and the grid will show up, the grid selector over here, and I can start building grids right away. So I'm going to come down to the bottom left corner here to draw my first line, keeping in mind I want to stay within this region of where the tick marks are, and I'll click and drag, and I want to make sure that I'm 90 degrees with all of these so I get that blue highlighting line, and I'll come over here and complete my first one, and then I'm ready to start the next one. Coming up 20 feet. You can see that on the screen. It happened easily for me that time. Come over, and I want to make sure I have that blue line indicating that everything's aligned. It's really important that we work precisely. So if I can't get my 20 when I move up there, one of the shortcuts then, once I have that blue line, that vertical blue line highlighted, meaning that I'm aligned with the bottom start of the grid, I can just type in 20, hit return. That'll automatically mark that point, and then I can just drag over until it aligns on the other side. And I'll make one more here. That'll give us our 3 bays deep. Notice that everything's in alignment. I have the blue horizontal line sticking out and the blue vertical dotted line. Okay, so let's make some vertical ones now. So start down here and carry it up. The next one over, we want, again, 20 feet. I'll type in 20, noticing I have that blue dotted line indicating that I'm right at the edge of the other line. I'll hit enter. That marks that first point, and then I can drag up and click. And we'll just continue to do that. I'll type in 20, up, and click. Back down again, 20, up, and click. And then that's 3 bays, so let's go 4. So I'm going to do 20 again, and come up and click. Okay, so now you'll notice my grid is a little bit out of the center realm of things. So what I'll do is I'll just grab them all. I'll use my move tool, and I'll kind of slide this up until it's closer to being more reasonably aligned within those tick marks. Now notice these tabs that are coming, or the markers that are coming up this way, are closer to that first grid line than in this direction. I can easily make those about the same by just selecting on any one of these and then just grabbing that little circle in there. And I'll zoom in so you can see where that circle is. So once I highlight it, that little circle will be indicated, and then I can move that back and forth, and all of those will stay aligned with each other. So now we have our grid in place. Next thing we'll look is, well, let's take a peek and see what we've done. Let's go to our 3D view. I'll create the first 3D view for this. I'll double click under view, and then the doghouse. You can see our grid laid out at level 1. Next thing we're going to do is look at adding the appropriate levels for the project we're going to do. And we'll do that next.